The notification from my banking app made my heart stop. Balance alert. Account below $500. That couldn't be right. Just yesterday, we had over $30,000 in our joint savings. My name is Alea, and this was the moment my perfect marriage started to unravel. I refreshed the app 3 times, hands trembling. The balance stayed the same 478.92s. I called the bank immediately, certain there must be some mistake. I'm sorry, ma'am, but these withdrawals appear legitimate. The customer service rep said they were made using the correct PIN and authentication methods. What withdrawals? When? Multiple transfers over the past week. The largest was, she paused, $12 to something called King's Vault? My stomach lurched. I'd never heard of King's Vault. I was still staring at my phone when Nolan came home from work. He loosened his tie, kissed my cheek like any other day, like he hadn't just destroyed our savings. Hey, babe, rough day at the office. Edgar's been writing everyone about the quarterly numbers. I held up my phone. Want to explain this? His face didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Oh, yeah, I was going to talk to you about that tonight, actually. He sat down, running his hands through his hair. The market's been brutal. Those crypto investments I made, they didn't pan out. Crypto? What crypto? We never discussed any crypto investments. I didn't want to worry you until I had good news. He reached for my hand. I pulled away. Look, it's temporary. I have a plan. A plan? You took our entire savings without telling me. Lower your voice, please. His tone shifted, somehow making me feel like I was the unreasonable one. You're getting emotional. This is exactly why I handled it myself. You don't understand financial strategy. I laughed, a harsh sound. Strategy? Draining our account without telling your wife is strategy? We need to think bigger picture here. He leaned forward, all earnest eyes and practiced concern. Actually, I've been thinking. Your mom's house, we should sell it, just temporarily. We could make a killing in this market, then buy it back in a year or two. The room spun. My mother had passed away just 4 months ago after a long battle with dementia. That house was all I had left of her. The house isn't for sale, I said flatly. Don't be difficult, Alea. This affects both of us. We're a team, remember? He touched my shoulder. I know you're still grieving, but your mom would want what's best for our future. How dare he use my mother against me? But I forced myself to breathe, to think. You're right, I said quietly. We should discuss this properly. Give me some time to process? Relief flooded his face. He thought he had me. Of course, babe. Take all the time you need. I'll handle everything. I'm sure you will, I thought. That night, after Nolan fell asleep, I sat in our home office with his laptop. He'd always been careless with passwords, using variations of his birthday or our anniversary. It took only 3 tries. The browser history had been cleared, but Gmail was still logged in. I searched King's Vault, dozens of emails, payment confirmations, password resets, VIP status upgrades. It wasn't crypto. King's Vault was an online poker site. My hands were steady as I forwarded everything to my personal email. Then I opened our bank statements. The withdrawals went back months, disguised as business expenses and investment transfers. Small amounts at first, growing larger and more frequent. My phone buzzed. A text from his mother, Joanna. Sunday dinner this week? Nolan says you two have news to share. So excited. Of course. He was already spinning his story to his family. Poor Nolan, trying so hard while his difficult wife doesn't understand finances. I closed the laptop and walked to our bedroom. Nolan was snoring softly, looking peaceful, innocent. I grabbed my pillow and went to sleep in the guest room, my mind racing. I needed proof. I needed a plan. Most of all, I needed someone who could help me understand what I was dealing with. I pulled out my phone and typed a message to Vienna, my old coworker who'd taught me basic coding years ago. Remember when you said I could call you if I ever needed tech help? Are you free for coffee tomorrow? It's important. Her response came immediately. Name the time and place. I'm there. I stared at the ceiling, my mother's voice echoing in my head from one of her last lucid days. Trust your gut, baby girl. When something feels wrong, it usually is. Oh, Mom, if you only knew how right you were. You know this is technically illegal, right? Vienna said, fingers flying across her laptop keyboard. We were sitting in the back corner of a coffee shop, far from curious eyes. More illegal than stealing $30,000 from your wife? I sipped my now cold coffee. Fair point. She grinned. Lucky for you, your husband is about as tech savvy as a golden retriever. He's still using the same iCloud backup for everything. I leaned closer to her screen. Can you access his other devices? Already done. His work laptop syncs to the same account. She pulled up a folder. Want to see something interesting? This spreadsheet is called Backup Story. The document was meticulously organized, a fake timeline of crypto investments, complete with manufactured losses and market crashes. He'd planned every detail of his lie. Look at the date, Vienna pointed. He created this 3 months ago, right after right after mom died. I finished. He knew he'd need a cover story. My phone buzzed. Joanna again. Darling, about Sunday dinner. Should I make your favorite lasagna? Nolan says you've been so stressed lately. I showed Vienna the text. His whole family thinks I'm having some kind of breakdown. Classic gaslighting, make you doubt yourself while he controls the narrative. Vienna opened another folder. Holy shit. Alea, look at this. Chat logs filled the screen. Conversations with other gamblers, bookies, loan sharks. The amounts made me dizzy. He's in way deeper than 30 grand. Vienna said quietly. These go back almost a year. A video file caught my eye. What's that? Vienna clicked play. It was Nolan, recorded on his laptop camera, probably accidentally. He was on the phone, crying. Please, just give me another week, he begged. I can get the money, my wife's house. It's worth at least 500,000. Yes, I know this is my fourth extension. I felt sick. Save everything. Already on it. I'm creating a secure drive only you can access. Vienna hesitated. Alea, these amounts. Has he mentioned anything about work money? What do you mean? These losses. They're way more than your savings. Unless he's making secret millions at his job. The implication hit me. You think he's stealing from work too? Worth looking into. She pointed to recurring transfers from an account labeled Project Delta. This doesn't look like personal money. My phone rang. Nolan. Hey, babe. His voice was honey sweet. I made dinner reservations for tonight. That Italian place you love. We should talk about everything properly. I caught Vienna's eye. She nodded encouragingly. Sounds perfect, I said. I'd love to hear more about your investment strategy. After hanging up, I turned to Vienna. I need to play along, make him think I'm buying his story. Smart. Buy yourself time to gather more evidence. She handed me a small USB drive. Everything's on here. And Alea, be careful. Men like this, when they realize they're losing control. I know. I stood up, gathering my things. That's why I need to be smarter than him. At dinner, Nolan was in full performance mode. He ordered expensive wine, held my hand across the table, spoke in soft, concerned tones about our future. The crypto market is volatile, but that's where the opportunities are, he explained as if talking to a child. We just need to be bold, take risks. Like selling mom's house? Exactly. He squeezed my hand. See? You do understand. We'll buy it back, I promise. This is just temporary. I smiled, thinking of the video of him begging his bookie. Tell me more about these investments. I want to understand everything. He launched into a rehearsed speech about blockchain and market trends, straight from his backup story spreadsheet. I nodded at all the right moments. My phone buzzed under the table. A text from Vienna. Found more. His sister Lexi's name is on some of these loans. Think she knows? I looked at Nolan, still spinning his elaborate lies, and thought about his younger sister. Lexi had seemed oddly distant lately, avoiding family gatherings. About Sunday dinner, I said, interrupting his monologue. Your mom invited us. Perfect timing. We can tell them about our investment plans. He smiled. They'll understand. Mom always says family supports family. Yes, I said, raising my wine glass. Family should always know the truth, right? He clinked his glass against mine, completely missing the edge in my voice. Later that night, I sent 2 texts. To Vienna. Keep digging, especially anything connected to his sister or work. To Marlowe, my oldest friend and a lawyer. Remember when you said you owed me a favor? I need legal advice urgently, and everything we discuss needs to be completely confidential. Her response was immediate. Come to my office first thing tomorrow. Bring everything you have. The game was on, and this time I was writing the rules. You need to be careful about how you play this, Marlowe said, spreading documents across her desk. One wrong move, and he could spin this as you being vindictive. I'm beyond caring about his reputation, I replied. This isn't about his reputation. She held up one of Vienna's printouts. These transactions? The property schemes. This is fraud. Multiple counts. But timing is everything. My phone buzzed. Nolan. Don't forget lunch with Lexi today. Love you. I showed Marlowe the text. He's been pushing me to talk to his sister. Think he's trying to get ahead of something? Only one way to find out. She started organizing papers into folders. But remember, don't show your hand. Let her talk. The cafe where I met Lexi was quiet, tucked away from the business district. She was already there, fidgeting with her coffee cup. Thanks for meeting me, she said, not quite meeting my eyes. Nolan said you've been having a hard time lately. Did he? I stirred my tea. What else did he say? Just that you're stressed about money, that you might need to sell your mom's house. She hesitated. He said sometimes grief makes people irrational. Interesting. I kept my voice neutral. How's the new apartment? The one you bought with your inheritance? Her face fell slightly. I I actually had to sell it. What? Why? Bad investment, she said quickly. Too quickly. These things happen, right? I leaned forward. Lexi, did Nolan ask you to invest in something? Her eyes widened. She grabbed her purse. I should go. I have a meeting. He took your inheritance, didn't he? She froze halfway out of her chair, slowly sat back down. How did you know? She whispered. Because he just took our savings. And now he wants my mother's house. Tears welled in her eyes. He said it was temporary, a business opportunity. The money would double in 3 months. Let me guess. Something about crypto? She nodded. Mom and Dad don't know. He said they wouldn't understand, that it would break Mom's heart. How much? Almost everything. 200,000. She wiped her eyes. He showed me charts, projections. It all seemed so real. My phone buzzed again. A message from Vienna. Urgent. Found deleted emails. He's already contacted real estate agents about your mom's house using a shell company name. My hands started shaking. Lexi, I need to show you something. I pulled out my laptop, showed her the evidence Vienna had gathered. The color drained from her face. Oh God, she whispered. The gambling. I had no idea. There's more. I hesitated. We think he might be taking money from work too. She grabbed my arm. Don't tell Mom, please. She she still thinks he's perfect. I'm telling everyone. Sunday dinner. No! Her grip tightened. You don't understand. Mom will destroy him. And Dad's heart isn't good. Better they hear it from me than the police. Her eyes widened. Police? This is fraud, Lexi. What he did to you, to me, maybe to his company. It's criminal. She stood up again, gathering her things. I can't be part of this. I'm sorry, Alea. I can't. After she left, I called Vienna. Tell me about those real estate emails. It's worse than we thought. He created a company called Summit Investments, was going to buy your mom's house through it, then flip it immediately to another buyer. You wouldn't have seen a cent. My hands clenched into fists. Send everything to Marlowe. That night, Nolan was extra attentive. Brought home flowers. Kissed my forehead. How was lunch with Lexi? Enlightening, I said. He smiled. She's always looked up to you, you know. Such a sweet girl. Sometimes too trusting. The audacity made me want to scream. Instead, I smiled back. Speaking of trust, I've been thinking about the house. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's time to let go. His eyes lit up. Really? Oh, babe, you won't regret this. I promise. I'll handle everything. I'm sure you will. I touched his cheek. Just like you handled Lexi's inheritance? For a split second, fear flashed across his face. Then his mask slipped back on. What do you mean? Nothing. I kissed him lightly. Just thinking out loud. Can't wait for Sunday dinner. Later, I sent one final text to Vienna and Marlowe. Sunday, 6 p.m. Everything needs to be ready. No second chances. Vienna replied first. Presentation ready. He won't know what hit him. Then Marlowe. Papers prepared? Are you sure about this? I looked at the last photo of my mother in her garden, taken before the dementia took her smile away. The house she'd worked her whole life for. The house Nolan tried to steal. Yes, I typed back. It's time everyone saw the truth. Joanna's dining room was a shrine to family perfection. Photos lined every wall, each one carefully staged to show the Stewarts at their best. Nolan's graduation, family vacations, our wedding day. All lies looked prettier in frames. The lasagna smells wonderful, I said, helping her set the table. My laptop bag felt heavy against my hip. An old family recipe. Joanna beamed. Nolan says it's still your favorite. He says a lot of things. She frowned slightly, but was interrupted by Jack's arrival. Where's my son? Still working hard, I bet. Right here, Dad. Nolan appeared, carrying a bottle of expensive wine. Sorry I'm late. Had to stop by the office. On a Sunday. Sure you did. Lexi arrived last, looking pale. She barely met my eyes as she sat down. Before we eat, Nolan stood, raising his glass. I want to thank everyone for coming. Alea and I have some news to share. My hand tightened around my water glass. As you know, the financial markets have been challenging lately. He placed his hand on my shoulder. Some investments didn't go as planned, but Alea and I have made some difficult decisions. Together. Joanna nodded sympathetically. We all face setbacks, dear. Exactly. Nolan squeezed my shoulder. Which is why we've decided to sell Alea's mother's house. Temporarily, of course, just until the market recovers. Oh, sweetheart. Joanna reached across the table to pat my hand. I know it's hard, but sometimes we have to let go of the past. Actually, I stood up, shrugging off Nolan's hand. I'd like to share something too. Alea. Nolan's voice held a warning. I pulled out my laptop. You all have that smart TV, right? The one Nolan bought for Christmas? Of course, Jack said proudly. Top of the line. A few clicks, and my screen mirrored to the TV. The first image appeared Nolan's King's Vault account history. What's this? Joanna squinted. This, I said clearly, is where your son really lost our money. Nolan lunged for the laptop. I stepped back. Next slide, chat logs with bookies, loan applications, threats from debt collectors. Each click brought new evidence. Oh, and this is interesting. Emails about selling my mother's house through a fake company, planning to pocket the money himself. She's confused, Nolan stammered. The stress, the grief. Lexi, I said softly. Tell them about your apartment. The room went silent. Lexi stared at her plate. What about her apartment? Jack asked. Tell them, Nolan. Lexi's voice was barely audible. Tell them what you did with my inheritance. Joanna's face went from confused to horrified. What is she talking about? He took it, Lexi said, finally looking up. All of it. Said it was for investments. Crypto, just like he told Alea. You're both lying, Nolan shouted, standing so fast his chair fell backward. This is ridiculous. Mom, Dad, you know me. One more slide, I said, clicking again. The video played, Nolan begging his bookie, promising money from his wife's house. Joanna's hand flew to her mouth. Oh my God. Turn that off. Nolan tried to reach the TV. There's more, I continued calmly. Bank records showing transfers from his company accounts. Falsified documents. Should I keep going? You bitch! He moved toward me, but Jack caught his arm. Don't you dare. Jack's voice shook. Don't you dare touch her. I trusted you. Lexi was crying now. I trusted you with everything I had. Oh, like you're so innocent? Nolan sneered. Should I tell Mom about your little cocaine habit in college? The abortion? Joanna slapped him. The sound cracked through the room like lightning. Get out, she whispered. Get out of my house. Mom, please. I said, get out. Nolan looked around wildly, seeing nothing but disgust and horror on every face. He grabbed his keys. This isn't over, he snarled at me. Actually, I pulled out one final paper from my bag. It is. My lawyer drew these up yesterday. Separation agreement. You might want to read it before the police get involved. He snatched the papers and stormed out. The front door slammed so hard the family photos rattled on their walls. Silence fell. Joanna sank into her chair, aging years in minutes. Jack stood by the window, shoulders slumped. Lexi sobbed quietly. I'm sorry, I said, gathering my things. You deserve to know the truth. Wait! Joanna grabbed my wrist. How long? How long has he been? Long enough. I gently pulled away. Check your accounts, all of them, and call this number. I handed her Marlowe's card. She's expecting your call. I walked out into the cool evening air, my phone already buzzing with missed calls from Nolan. I blocked his number. One text from Vienna. Phase 1 complete. Ready for Phase 2? I looked back at the house where I'd once felt like family, where perfect photos hid perfect lies. Ready, I typed back. Let's burn it all down. The knocking started at 3 a.m. I sat in my darkened living room, listening to Nolan pound on the door. Allah, open up. We need to talk about this. My phone lit up with texts from unknown numbers, new accounts he'd created after I blocked him. You're ruining everything. Please, baby, I can explain. Don't do this to us. I forwarded each message to Marlowe without responding. Evidence was evidence. At dawn, the knocking finally stopped. My phone rang. Lexi. He's been calling me all night, she said, voice rough from crying, threatening to tell everyone about everything. Let him. Your secrets aren't worse than his crimes. I went to the bank this morning. She took a shaky breath. The loan he made me take out? It wasn't just for 200,000. He forged my signature for another 150. I sat up straighter. You're sure? The bank showed me the documents. That's felony fraud, isn't it? Yes. Are you ready to file charges? A long pause. Yes? Good. Meet me at Marlowe's office in an hour. Marlowe's office was already busy when we arrived. She had papers spread across her desk, post-it notes everywhere. The separation agreement was just the beginning, she said, handing me a coffee. We're looking at criminal charges now, multiple counts of fraud, forgery, potential embezzlement. Embezzlement? Lexi asked. Vienna found something interesting in his work files, I explained. Large transfers from company accounts to offshore holdings, all authorized by Nolan. His boss needs to know, Marlowe said. Already done. I checked my phone. Vienna sent an anonymous tip to Edgar last night with enough evidence to start an internal audit. Lexi's phone buzzed. She went pale. Mom's calling. Answer it, Marlowe encouraged. Put it on speaker. Mom? Your brother? Joanna's voice cracked. He took out loans in your father's name, used our house as collateral. The bank just called. How much? I asked. 500,000. Jack's. He's not well. His heart. I had to call an ambulance. Lexi started crying again. I took the phone. Joanna, listen to me. Come to Marlowe's office. Bring every financial document you can find. We're ending this. Today. An hour later, Joanna arrived clutching folders, her perfect makeup streaked with tears. She looked smaller somehow, older. I enabled this, she whispered as Marlowe went through the documents, always making excuses for him, ever since he was little. My phone buzzed. Vienna. Edgar just called security. Nolan showed up drunk, making scenes. They're escorting him out. Then another message. P.S. I may have sent his gambling logs to the board of directors. Oops. Your husband's stable, Marlowe told Joanna, hanging up her phone. They're keeping him for observation, but the medication helped. I want to destroy him, Joanna said suddenly, steel entering her voice. My son or not, he nearly killed his father. He stole from his sister. He tried to steal your mother's home. Then let's destroy him, I said. Legally, completely, no mercy. Marlowe started preparing documents, statements, police reports. One by one, we signed them. My phone rang. Edgar. Alea, we need to talk about your husband. Ex husband? Whatever he is. This goes deeper than we thought. The board were finding millions missing. I know, I said, and I have proof of where it went. The police are involved now. Can you come in? On my way. As I gathered my things, Lexi touched my arm. Thank you for making me brave enough to tell the truth. The truth was always there, I said. We just had to stop protecting him from it. Outside Marlowe's office, a familiar car was parked across the street. Nolan sat inside, watching. I walked straight toward him. He rolled down his window. Please, he said, eyes red and desperate. Don't do this. I'll get help. I'll make it right. You had chances to make it right. You chose to lie instead. I'll lose everything. Like I lost my savings? Like Lexi lost her inheritance? Like your parents almost lost their house? I'm your husband. No, I said quietly. You're just another man who thought he could get away with it. I walked away as police cars turned the corner, lights flashing. In my purse, my phone buzzed with a message from Vienna. Edgar just sent me something interesting. Looks like our boy Nolan had a whole second set of accounts. Offshore. Want to see? I smiled, hearing the police sirens grow closer. Send everything, I typed back. It's time for phase 3. Behind me, I heard the officers ordering Nolan out of his car, his protests, the click of handcuffs. Sometimes karma needs a little help, I thought, walking toward the future I was taking back, one piece of evidence at a time. Nolan's Facebook post appeared exactly 3 days after his arrest. To all my friends and family, I need to come clean. Yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I have a gambling problem. But my biggest mistake was trusting someone who saw me at my lowest and chose revenge over compassion. My wife, rather than helping me seek treatment, decided to destroy me publicly. I watched the likes and sympathetic comments roll in, sipping my morning coffee. He's really trying it, Vienna said, scrolling through her phone, playing the victim card. Bold move for someone facing federal charges. My phone rang. Marlowe. Have you seen his post? She asked, watching the pity party live. Don't respond. Let him dig his hole deeper. Another notification popped up. Nolan was going live on Instagram. I just want to tell my side, he said to the camera, eyes red and puffy. Everyone's heard Alea's version, but addiction is a disease. I needed help, not public humiliation. Vienna snorted. Help? Like the help he gave Lexi with her inheritance? Speaking of Lexi, I pointed to a new comment appearing under his video. Lexi had written, Stop lying. You stole my inheritance, forged my signature, nearly killed Dad. This isn't about addiction, it's about you being a criminal. The comments section exploded. Nolan's voice grew desperate on the live stream. Lexi, you don't understand. I was trying to help you invest. Should we show them the Reddit screenshots? Vienna asked, opening a folder on her laptop. The ones where he's bragging about scamming his stupid sister and his trust fund wife? I nodded. Do it. Within minutes, Vienna had posted the screenshots anonymously to every Reddit investing and relationship forum where Nolan had been seeking sympathy. His own words, dripping with contempt, exposed his true character. Look at this one, Vienna pointed. These women don't understand money. They should thank me for managing their inheritance better than they could, posted right after he drained Lexi's account. My phone buzzed with a text from Joanna. He's trying to call me from jail, saying we need to protect the family name. The nerve. I replied. How's Jack doing? Better. Doctor says the stress triggered his arrhythmia. He's home now, asking for you, actually. Another notification. Nolan's live stream had taken a darker turn. You want to talk about crimes? He was shouting now. Let's talk about Lexi's college days. Let's talk about what really happened to Mom's missing jewelry. Let's talk about. The stream suddenly cut off. His lawyer must have finally reached him, Marlowe texted. Too late, though. We got it all recorded. Vienna was already typing, adding witness intimidation to his charges. Nice of him to do it publicly. My doorbell rang. It was Edgar, holding a thick folder. The audit results, he said, looking grim. We found everything. Nearly 3 million in embezzled funds. He was running a complex scheme through multiple shell companies. Like Summit Investments? I asked. The one he planned to use for my mother's house? Edgar nodded. That's just the tip. The board is pressing full charges, but he hesitated. There's something else. We found emails. He wasn't working alone. My stomach dropped. Who? Another executive, Robert from accounting. They were working together, splitting the money. Let me guess, they met through gambling? Bingo. Edgar handed me the folder. The FBI wants to talk to you. Your evidence, combined with this, it's not looking good for either of them. Later that evening, I sat in my mother's garden, reading through the mounting comments on Nolan's failed PR attempt. His mask had finally cracked completely, revealing the ugly truth beneath. My phone lit up with a message from an unknown number. A photo. My heart stopped. It was Nolan and me on our wedding day, but with my face burned out. Vienna called seconds later. I traced that number. It's coming from inside the jail. Want me to add witness intimidation and harassment to his charges? Do it. I looked at the damaged photo again, remembering how happy I'd been that day, how perfectly he'd played his role. One more thing, Vienna said. Remember those offshore accounts? I found something interesting. Looks like he was moving money to an account in his mother's name, without her knowledge. I smiled grimly. Send it to Joanna. Already did. She's meeting with the FBI tomorrow. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Lexi. I'm at the police station, filing formal charges about the forged loans. No more protecting him. I walked through my mother's garden, touching the roses she'd loved so much. The house he'd tried to steal still stood strong, just like me. Another message from Vienna. Ready for the final nail. I found his secret Reddit account. Years of posts. The things he said about women, about you, about his family. It's all archived. Want me to make it public? I looked at the burned wedding photo one last time before deleting it. Release everything. I typed back. Let him burn himself down. The courthouse hallway buzzed with whispers as I walked in. Nolan sat with his lawyer, wearing an ill fitting suit that hung loose on his frame. 2 months in jail waiting for bail hadn't been kind to him. All rise, the bailiff called. I took my seat between Marlowe and Vienna. Behind me, Joanna and Lexi sat with their own lawyers. Jack was home, still too weak to attend. How are you holding up? Marlowe whispered. Before I could answer, the side door opened. Robert from accounting was led in, handcuffed. He wouldn't look at Nolan. The state calls Aaliyah to the stand. Walking to the witness box, I finally met Nolan's eyes. He mouthed something that looked like, please. I looked away. Please state your relationship to the defendant, the prosecutor said. He was my husband. We're separated pending divorce. When did you first discover the financial irregularities? I told them everything: the empty account, the gambling, the attempted theft of my mother's house. My voice stayed steady even when describing how he'd used my grief over mom's death as cover for his schemes. And the company funds? We discovered he and Robert had embezzled nearly $3 million through various shell companies and offshore accounts. Nolan's lawyer objected, trying to paint me as a vengeful wife out for blood. The judge overruled him. The state calls Lexi to the stand. Lexi's testimony was devastating. She described in detail how Nolan had manipulated her, forged her signature, stolen her inheritance. Her voice broke when she talked about their father's heart attack. He told me if I ever revealed the truth, he'd tell everyone about my abortion, she said. He's my brother, and he used my darkest moments against me. During the break, a woman I didn't recognize approached me in the bathroom. Thank you, she said quietly. For what? I worked with Nolan 5 years ago, at his previous company. She twisted her hands nervously. He did the same thing there. Convinced me to invest in his sure thing. I lost everything. No one believed me when I tried to report it. Why didn't you press charges? He had photos, private photos, said he'd release them if I talked. She straightened her shoulders. But I'm here now, ready to testify about the pattern. Back in the courtroom, the evidence mounted. Vienna's technical expertise had uncovered years of systematic fraud. The Reddit posts revealed his true character: racist, misogynistic rants about women and money. Robert broke first, accepting a plea deal in exchange for testimony. He detailed their embezzlement scheme, how they'd covered their tracks, how Nolan had masterminded everything. He said no one would catch us, Robert testified. Said women were too emotional about money to understand what we were doing. The final blow came from Joanna. She took the stand, spine straight, voice clear. My son is a predator, she said simply. He stole from his sister, nearly killed his father, used my name to hide money without my knowledge. The day I discovered the truth was the day I stopped being his mother. Nolan jumped up. Mom, please, you can't mean that. Order! The judge banged his gavel. Mr. Stewart, control yourself or you'll be removed. The jury took less than 3 hours to reach a verdict. On the charge of grand larceny, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of embezzlement, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of fraud, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of forgery, we find the defendant guilty. The judge's sentence was swift: 8 years in federal prison, no possibility of early release. As they led him away, Nolan turned to me one last time. I loved you, he said. Despite everything, I really did love you. No, I replied. You loved what you could take from me. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. I let Marlowe handle them while I stood with Lexi and Joanna. It's really over, Lexi whispered. Almost, I said. Civil suits are next. We're going after every penny he stole. A young woman approached us, clutching a notebook. I'm sorry to interrupt, she said. I'm writing a story about financial abuse and fraud. Would you be willing to talk about how you exposed everything? Other women need to know they can fight back. I looked at Lexi, at Joanna, at the first victim from the bathroom. Each of us had a piece of the story. Together, we'd brought down someone who thought he was untouchable. Yes, I said, we'll talk. Everyone should know the truth. My phone buzzed. Vienna. Edgar says the company recovered most of the stolen funds. They're returning Lexi's inheritance, plus interest. Justice, I thought, watching Nolan's prison transport drive away. Sometimes it comes in unexpected ways. You just saved a lot of us, the young reporter whispered. More than you know. She was right. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about breaking silence, about women protecting women, about truth finally winning over lies. The roses in Mom's garden bloomed early this spring. I sat on her old wooden bench, laptop open, finalizing the last chapter of her memoir. The book deal had come as a surprise. Publishers loved the idea of weaving her story with mine, two generations of women facing different kinds of battles. My phone buzzed. Vienna. Turn on the news, she said. They're covering the support group. I switched tabs to a live stream. Lexi was speaking to a packed room, her voice strong and clear. Financial abuse doesn't always look like stolen credit cards, she said. Sometimes it wears a designer suit and calls itself investment strategy. The camera panned across the audience, women of all ages, some taking notes, others nodding in recognition. The group had started small, just me, Lexi, and a few others from Nolan's past. Now we had chapters in 3 cities. Another message popped up. Marlowe. Final restitution payment came through. Your mother's house is officially, permanently yours. I touched the worn wood of the bench, remembering Mom's last coherent days. Trust your gut, she'd said. She'd known something was wrong with Nolan long before I did. The doorbell rang. It was Joanna, carrying a box. Spring cleaning, she said, setting it down. Found these in the attic. Thought you should have them. Inside were photo albums. Our wedding, family gatherings, perfectly staged moments hiding perfectly crafted lies. Jack wanted to burn them, she said, sitting beside me. But I thought, maybe they belong in your book. Show people how good manipulators are at creating beautiful facades. How is he? Better. The new medication helps. She touched one of Mom's roses. He's thinking of teaching again. Says sitting at home gives him too much time to think about everything. My phone lit up. A message from an unknown number. My heart jumped until I saw it was from the prison's official email system. Inmate Stewart, Nolan requests to add you to his approved contact list. Delete. Still trying? Joanna asked, seeing my expression. Always. Last week he tried to send a letter through his new lawyer, 60 pages of explanation and apology. And manipulation, she added. Did I tell you he wrote to Jack, said he'd found God in prison, asked for money for religious materials? We shared a knowing look. Same old Nolan, just with a new angle. The news live stream was still playing. A familiar face appeared. The woman from the courthouse bathroom. She was introducing herself as Sarah, describing how she'd lost her savings to Nolan years ago. But that's not the end of my story, she said. Today I run financial literacy workshops. I teach women to spot the red flags I missed. My laptop chimed. Email from the publisher. Manuscript received. Powerful stuff. Marketing wants to schedule a launch event. Will you do it? Joanna asked. Go public with everything? Before I could answer, Lexi appeared at the garden gate. Sorry to interrupt, she said, but you both need to see this. She held up her phone. A Reddit post was going viral. A prison guard had leaked Nolan's private notebook. Pages of angry rants about women, money, and revenge, his true self, still unchanged. He's furious, Lexi said, threatening to sue for privacy violation. But you know what's interesting? The comments? Hundreds of women sharing similar stories, different names, same pattern. Same story, different devils, I murmured. My phone buzzed again. Vienna. Remember that code we found in Nolan's work files? Just helped another company identify the same embezzlement pattern. We stopped it before they lost millions. Joanna stood, brushing dirt from her pants. I should go. Jack's making dinner tonight. First time since, well, you know. She hugged me, whispering, "Thank you for being stronger than I was." After she left, I sat in the growing dusk, listening to the last bits of the live stream. Women's voices, strong and clear, sharing their stories, warning others, breaking silences. I opened my laptop, starting a new chapter. Not for the book, for me. Dear Mom, I typed. Remember when you said trust your gut? You were right, but you taught me something even more important. Trust your strength. A final message from Vienna lit up my phone. Hey, guess what? That trading algorithm we found in Nolan's files, I reversed it, using it to track similar fraud patterns. 3 cases identified already. I smiled, touching the warm wood of Mom's bench. Karma doesn't knock. I typed back. Sometimes she walks in carrying your hard drive. The roses swayed in the evening breeze, their thorns sharp and protective, just like truth, just like justice, just like me. I closed the laptop and watched the sunset paint the garden gold. Tomorrow would bring new stories, new battles, new victories. But tonight, in my mother's garden, surrounded by the strength of blooming things, I was exactly where I needed to be. Free.